Hey, hello. All right, and we're live. Cool. Playing the life and suffering of Sir Brante again. We'll see how we do today. Maybe we will not die in our adolescence like we did in our childhood. We are moving on to adolescence. No, actually, just continue. You've lived in the world for 8 years now, and as you grow older, life grows more complex. Oh yeah, we already read this. We already read all this. So we can get Gloria's secret. You discover the secret society your sister has joined. You can get Stefan's disgrace. You find out your elder brother has a forbidden love. Blood Tide? What is this? You join. Okay, so I need ingenuity, nobility. I need +2. Oh. Okay. And then. What? Oh. Okay. Dude, like. There's a ton of stuff in this. Okay, so then we got, new stuff, nobility, ingenuity, and spirituality. We also have willpower. Right now we only have 5, and yes, we have died once. A stupid death, mind you. Relation screen is now available, which is right here. Province screen is now available, which is right here, and the map, which is right there. Continue. Adolescence. I am 8 years old. My childhood is gone, and we are on to adolescence. The family expects more and more of you as you grow up. The teachers and tutors hired by your father keep you on your toes all the time. Your life these days is dedicated to studying for your future, for the future of the Brante family. Your younger brother Nathan keeps growing up too. He can hold a conversation now. You never refuse him when he comes to play, provided you have a bit of free time between your demanding lessons. It is a rainy day today. Father and mother have gone to a ball, and they left Nathan in your care. You lose track of time over the books in your sitting room, and Nathan goes off alone to splash in the creek. Soon you hear his voice begging you to come outside. He's on the porch sobbing, all covered in dirt. You walk up to him, and he continues to bawl. It's all over that kid. He pushed me into that ditch and called me names. He said I was a fancy pants fool. I said I'll call my brother. He's still there. You have to go punish him. What the hell? Nathan points at a lopsided wooden house further down the street where the poor artisan lives. You see 2 boys lingering there on the porch. They are clearly both commoners, but far from poor. One of them is almost as tall as Nathan, and he is frowning in a funny way, but just like him. Funnier way, just like him. Oh, okay. The other looks older, almost your age, but he is more broad-shouldered and taller. His name is Thomas. You've heard it before. There, that's him. Nathan points at the younger boy and hides behind your back. Thomas grins, rolls up his sleeves to reveal strong forearms. He must have been helping his father with manual labor for quite some time. Listen up, rich boys. We don't give a damn about you or your friendship. We don't let nobody call our home a stinking rat hole. Your little brother earned this ditch dive. Maybe next time he'll dress normal and stop picking fights with people who can throw him in the mud. Hands clenched into fists before you react. Nathan called them names first. No wonder they did the same. That's how it goes, but pushing your brother into a ditch is too much. Thomas stands tall and confident. He sees no threat in you. You are about to get ready for a fight when you feel a tug on your sleeve. You turn your head to see Nathan, the one who started the whole mess. Unity, willpower. Plus 10 willpower? Resolve the matter. Spirituality. What else do we get from this? We just get willpower, unity, but we get spirituality. Ingenuity. If you say your brother's to blame, or come at Thomas and give him a beating. You get nobility from that one, which is kind of weird. I kind of want to do this, because plus 10 willpower would be kind of nice. We're going to take the plus 10 willpower, I think. Yeah. Nathan keeps tugging on your sleeve harder and harder. Finally, you turn and look at him. Don't fight him, please. Look, he's huge. Let's go home. Who cares about them? You're all sweaty. They're all sweaty. Are you going to listen to your little brother and walk away like a coward? All you rich boys are chickens. You do nothing but squawk, but when the push comes to shove, you run home to mommy. Now he's done it. Your patience has run out. You swing at Thomas and he jumps back, surprised by your assault. It takes him a moment to compose himself, and now he's ready. His fist covers his face and he attacks you with a quick jab. Now it's your turn to take a step backwards. You start trading blows, huffing and puffing with rage. The younger brothers gawk in awe at the sight. Thomas does not resort to fancy moves, dirty tricks, or stupid taunts. He displays nothing but skill earned in many a street fights, and his heavy fists aim for your head. You keep dodging him again and again, trying to reach him, but he takes a couple of glance blows, but easily shakes them off. What a bruiser. You start swinging your fist with greater and greater fury. Dude, this kid's awesome. Your heart is pounding like a hammer. You see nothing but the foe in front of you. How much longer will this take? You're worn out. Your breath grows ragged. Your muscles grow heavy. But there is no way you can give up now. Nathan is watching you. Hell yeah, dude. Desperate and out of options, you swing and punch Thomas square on the nose, then immediately let his fist smack you in the temple. The blow rings through your head like a bell and blinds you for a moment. The world swings before your eyes. Did I just die? You clench at your head to get your bearings. Thomas is standing in front of you, blood dripping from his nose. You no longer want to fight it out, and it seems your opponent would rather end it too. But you keep standing there, eyeing each other angrily. Then suddenly you hear an angry shout right next to you. An enraged man in a craftsman apron is shaking his fist. Thomas' face contorts in terror right away. It's my father, run! This punishment for fighting is flying. Oh yeah, run, boys, run. And the mere prospect of that makes you run like the wind. Thomas sprinted in front of you. You dash across the rotten wooden planks of the back alley, up and over a lopsided fence, across a giant puddle in one leap, and then forward into the tall grass. You hide there and stay quiet. You hear no sound of pursuit. You exchange glances with Thomas and start laughing. His laughter is loud and infectious, but soon he cuts it short and grows sadder. I'm gonna get flogged anyways. My dad's always quick to give me a beating, and then he'll start nagging me about the lots and the prayers for days like he always does. Why do I always get myself mixed up in this stuff? But fighting the only way to prove you're worth anything, right? The adults didn't see you fighting, you tell him, so all you have to do now is convince them you weren't. Nosebleeds happen, right? Mother gets nosebleeds all the time. Well, we could try it. Let's hope your little brother don't tell on us. I'll talk to mine. There's a scratch on your head. Don't let them see it. Good thing I didn't hit you in the face. You're good as new. You assure him that Nathan will never tell, and in return, you'll make sure he behaves himself so he won't get tossed into a ditch again. With that, you shake hands with Thomas. His handshake is as strong as you would expect based on his fists. You make your way out of the tall grass. You need to leave before Thomas's father goes to your family and complains about your breaking your lot. But we're both commoners. I thought it was okay if we scuffle if we're commoners. You come to a realization on the way back. You had no idea the place where you were hiding even existed, and it wasn't too far from home. Thomas smiles in excitement when he hears this. Oh, I know lots of places like that. I'll tell you what, if we get out of this mess today, I'll show you the way to the old fortress wall. It's the perfect place to build your own fort. I dragged a bunch of wooden planks there. Too bad it's no fun to build all alone. My brother never helps, he just gets in the way. You emerge from the muddy back alleys, united by a secret only the two of you know. Seems you made a friend today. Yeah, unity, baby, +1. Willpower +10. Meet Thomas. You have made a friend, a boy named Thomas. Good old Tommy. I am 9 years old now. It is blistering hot today, even for the sun-parched land of Magra. As soon as you are done with your studies, you dash outdoors and out of the stuffy room. You and Thomas roll up your short sleeves, but it barely helps. You would gladly go shirtless had you only been in the company of other boys. But there are 3 girls in the yard today. They are doing the laundry in a big wash tub, whispering and giggling. If you could, you would gladly keep watching one of them work. What the hell? This is creepy. She had big eyes of deep blue. Her dark hair is braided and her plain gray dress is mended and patched all over. Her name is Sophia. She throws her head back a little when she laughs. The rays of the sun are reflected in her eyes. You, Thomas, and the other boys keep telling silly stories, anything to make her laugh. Sophie, you sure love telling tall tales. I'll remember this one time. I remember this one time, sorry. But then Sophie hears a voice calling her home. She nods to you and runs across the street smiling. Her light steps carry her forward, but her eyes are looking elsewhere. But then a stone on the road catches her foot and she stumbles and falls into the dust. The street starts shaking from the thundering of hoofs. Riders appear on the road from the corner. Around the corner, they bear a coat of arms you recognize right away. A sable serpent blade upon a field of vert. It symbolizes the Melandius dynasty, the family of your province's archduke. The horses dash forward. A lost wooden toy on the road cracks under their hoofs. They will not slow down. They are the nobles, and the rest must make their way for them. Oh my goodness. Sophie is in their way, just now starting to get back on her feet. Her mother is crying for her desperately from behind the fenced door. You freeze in terror. The riders surely see the girl. Are they going to stop or are they going to trample her? In only a few moments, the beautiful girl will be trampled and crushed. Shield Sophie from the horses or stay where you are. The consequences dies. Yeah, but if we do it, what do we get? I die if I save her? Dude, I almost have to, though. Nobility, ingenuity, spirituality, -5 willpower, and you die. Yeah, but I'll do it. Take a death. It sucks that we gotta take a death here, but I can't just sit here. You throw yourself blindly in the road, swinging your arms wildly, dazed by the sound of thundering hooks. You can see nothing in the dust. For a brief moment, the horses slow down just long enough for Sophie to get back to her feet and flee to the roadsides, but then the riders dig in their spurs in. Dozens of hooks knock you off your feet and roll across your body. Your bones crack and break and crumble. Your ears are ripped apart by the thundering rhythm of the ride. Your innards are pulverized. Did you have to get so graphic with it? The last thing you remember is the sound of your own skull caving in. Fucking hell, man, we died again. Impenetrable darkness surrounds you. You stand alone, bared to Your very essence, it paralyzes you. You have an urge to cover yourself, to hide. No one should see you so vulnerable, but you cannot conceal the truth in this place. You are bathed in an unbearable bright light. It has no hint of warmth in it. It is blinding. It leaves no shadows in the entire world. It is the light of the shining pillar itself. In this radiance, you can clearly see all of your thoughts and doubts, your errors and transgressions, the contradictions that have permitted you since birth. They cover you from head to toe like rough gray tatters, but they melt away in this light. You are naked, okay? You feel liberated and whole. It is as though all the wounds and cracks in your soul have been healed, making it the way it should be. It is as though the scales have fallen from your eyes. You see the true shapes of things now. These are the laws by which the world abides, the grand design that moves life itself. You tread a path that is barely visible in the blinding light, giving shape to everything. In this light you see the infinite complexity of the world, from the tiniest leaf to the enormity of the empire. And this world maintains its balance by virtue of the law that was embedded in it during the act of creation. I'd have you to... Oh, so we've already read this, huh? They are gigantic, many times taller. The elder holds a lash, the younger a sword. The younger gazes at you sternly, coldly. You kneel obediently before him and lower your head. The god raises his sword above you. This is a divine retribution. There is no law without it, nor can there be. Every action has consequences. This is what shapes the world and makes every existence possible. In this moment, beneath the gaze of merciless God, you comprehend the law that binds the entire world together. Which manifestation of the law in will you live by? Empire, lot. So empire, is this not the ultimate manifestation of the law, the great and incredible sophisticated mode of existence of people? Your destiny is your own, is manifested by the divine law. It is the law that has been with you since the day you were born. Your family is a model of the world in a tiny universe, and it belongs to you just as it belongs within. You defy the design of the gods and the law that binds it together. Dude, how about we defy it, though? Against the law. Dude, the blade flashes. The younger's sword slashes through the air above your head. You do not yet deserve your final punishment. The law demands that you continue your life. Your form has not completely destroyed, nor has that of the world. The younger extends his gigantic hand and shows you the way. You must proceed. The path leads you to the top of the crown of the silver tree. Spread wide in the white gleam. The branches are close now. It is time to descend. You are drawn downward into darkness. The shadows that have disappeared in the blinding glow creep around you and envelop you. This is to be expected, but the purity and clarity of the spirit are still with you. Something is forcing your throat open. Air. It scratches you on the inside. Your soul is filled with struggle again, with the contradictions from which the fabric of this world and yourself are woven. The divine light that gave you clarity is fading away with each passing moment. You have to open your eyes. Above you is the dark ceiling of the crypt. You are reborn. We're reborn again, 'cause I died. Give me a second. I'm gonna tweet this on Twitter, 'cause I forgot to do that earlier. Tweet. Yeet. Eat that tweet. Alright. Then you can feel again. You sense your body, head, arms, and legs. The light fades around you, obedient before a will that is stronger than your own. You return to the world. Such is the law of the twins. You will return to the world until the time your true death. And this world will have a body with which to feel pain and suffer and pleasure. You smell a sickly, moist odor. You open your eyes and see the figures of mother and father in the gloom of the family crypt, speaking to each other quietly. They stop as soon as they hear you gasp. Mother runs to you and locks you in her embrace as father wraps you in his cloak. Neither of them says a word as they lead you out to the surface and back home. You met a terrible end, my son. You were trampled by those horses. Yeah, I did. Don't be so careless ever again. The lives you were granted by the twin gods are not to be wasted so recklessly. You'd be punished for this, but the twins have already metered out their punishment. Yeah, I saved a woman's life, thank you. You tremble, your steps unsteady as you learn how to move again. Your body is eerily smooth, fresh and renewed. Even the recent scars and scratches are all gone. But there's something new on it. A fresh black mark, a reminder of your lesser deaths beneath those hoofs. Remember that, by the twins' mercy, we are all given enough time in this world. Should you die before your time, you will be brought back by their grace. For 3 times they will rescue you from a terrible fate, but the 4th death is true and final for all. So I can die one more time! Let's go, baby! Every loss of life we were granted at our birth is a heavy blow to us, but the gods told us not to mourn a lesser death, and so we will humbly accept this and move on. See, your body has been reborn anew, all of your wounds healed. Do not mourn your loss of life, my son, but thank the twins for their justice. Dude, the twins should be thanking me because I saved a woman. Do not speak of this, and do not ever play by the road again if you wish to keep on living. You cautiously go back outside the next day. Children from the neighborhood surround you. They all saw you get trampled. Yeah, they're all traumatized. And now they all ask you the same question. What is it like to die? Dude, I've already been there, done that. Thomas rescues you from their pestering. He pushes the motley crew aside, hugs you, and pats you on the back. Look at you, buddy. You gave an entire life to keep a girl safe. Then you see Sophie. She is standing nearby, shyly working up the courage to walk over to you. She finally approaches you and begins speaking rapidly. Why did you throw yourself in front of those horses? I still don't understand how that would save her. I feel like that would have just killed us both. But my life isn't worth any more than yours, so why did you think that you weren't supposed to die there? It was all those riders' fault. They deserve to die, not you. Gosh, lady. Little psycho right there, not gonna lie. Her voice rises to a shriek. She suddenly stops and runs back home. You stay where you are, watching her run, the golden rays of the sun dancing in her braided hair. So we gotta increase in everything except willpower, and we died twice, which sucks. Her voice rises to, okay, yeah. Achievement, trampled, yes. You saved a local girl named Sophie from a lesser death. Yes, I did. I am 10 years old. I have died twice, and I am 10 years old. That's pretty pathetic. Sophie disappeared after the terrible incident with the horses. Her friends gossip that her parents sent her off to serve a rich noble dynasty. You haven't seen each other since that day, but you still remember Sophie's eyes and the sunlight on them. But no matter what, life goes on. I saved that lady for nothing? You're now 10 years old now. Your studies continue and you are learning more about the land you live in. And Nizati is an ancient city in an imperial province by the name of Magra. All soil in Magra is turned to ash eons ago, scorched by magic during the rebellion of Duke Char Melandius. The magical arts are all but gone now, but the scorched earth has remained barren and infertile ever since. Since then, the entire province was lain barren, tormented by cold and scorching winds in equal measure, with few precious plants taking root on their own. All fertile land in Magra is brought elsewhere and brought here by an endless caravan of carts and carriages. To pay for food and soil, the cities of Magra became skilled in any trade, primary mining and digging for metals and stone. Last fall, there was an explosion just outside the city, followed by clouds of thick smoke. The first such incident frightened the citizens, but then explosions and smoke began on an everyday occurrence. Soon everyone grew used to it. Father explains that the miners were using a new invention called gunpowder. It makes it easier for them to reach the precious stones and metals buried deep within the earth. And one day, a thunderous explosion rocks the city, and black billowing smoke covers the houses. People are stuck in their homes, all windows tightly shut. The air is impossible to breathe. Nathan coughs all the time. Gloria and you cough only when nobody is watching. If Mother hears it, she'll make you inhale those hot herbal vapors just like Nathan. It takes 2 days for the black smoke to disappear. People pour out into the streets to meet their friends. Thomas is eager to share everything he knows about the incident with you. They took lots of burnt up people to the city temple. Mom told me she was helping the healers. There are many rumors. Some claim it was the work of a beast stirred from its slumber, while others say it's the surviving witches that continue to threaten the order in the empire with their accursed powers. But as for you, you patiently wait for Father to come back home, and then you'll ask him about it. Father spends day and night working at the prefecture, while Mother spends all her time in prayers. It takes a full week for Father to finally come home, and he's almost completely spent. You muster enough courage during dinner to ask him what happened outside the city. Father raises his head, his face a bleak, weary mask, and starts muttering his proclamation. It's almost as if he doesn't see you. It's the mine outside the city. They were trying to get to a vein of ore. There was an explosion, the mine caved in, and black smoke started flowing. Many workers died there. It was all because Count El Velasco, who owns the mine, wanted them to start mining that vein before they were ready. Some of the workers weren't even reborn. Perhaps the twins thought their final time had come. The prefecture has been inundated with complaints from families that have lost their breadwinners, asking the judges for help. Many people also lost their cattle to the black smoke. Count El Velasco blames gunpowder for the disaster. The prefecture and the newspapers just repeat whatever he says, but it's plain old greedy and tyranny of a noble man that are to blame. Why is the welfare of our province also paid for with the commoners' lives? And without warning, he goes silent again. You keep thinking about it for days. Can a human life really end so easily? You just got trampled by horses. Yes, it can. A simple moment of bad luck and you die. You got trampled by horses and beat to death with a cane. Yes, it can. Only to re-emerge from the temple or the family crypt with a new black mark on your arm, or worse, you remain where you fell, dead, never reborn again, ever. Oh, so I don't even get to influence this then. What is... Okay, Destiny. Oh, because we got that. Okay, cool. During lunch, Father tells you to stay home in the evening and prepare to meet some important guests. Your elder brother Stefan will return home by dinner tonight. Joining him will be your grandfather, that prick, as well as a noble friend of the family. You're excited about your brother's return. It has been years since you last saw him. How has he changed during his years away from home? You and your father await the guests anxiously. The doorbell rings. 3 people are standing outside. Grandfather is the first to come in, naturally. He has not changed a bit since his last visit, still eyeing the house with contempt, looking for any reason to demean it. Grandfather is followed by a stately younger man dressed in a jacket embroidered in silver, whom you barely recognize as your brother. Stefan casts a glance at your threaded, bare clothes, you dirty fingernails, and smirks. What a prick. The last to enter the house is a personable gentleman with a worn-out, wrinkled face. You have heard a lot of this man from your father and grandfather. He is Baron Augustin L. Borne, Stefan's uncle, a family friend and the province's prefect, which means that he is the head judge and thus father's superior. Sir Elborn smiles lightly and offers you his hand. And this must be your youngest son. Yes, you have your father's eyes, young man. Father bows slightly to grandfather and Sir Elborn. But there is a moment of quiet when Stefan turns come. Father reaches out to him awkwardly, expecting an embrace. There is a question in Stefan's eyes as he looks at grandfather. The old man shakes his head almost imperceptibly. We noblemen ought to put our emotions on public display, father, not even after a lengthy separation. There is no embrace. Instead, Stefan nods to father curtly. He responds in kind, his face devoid of emotion. After the greeting, you proceed to the sitting room. Elborn is the first to enter. He kisses mother's hand and Gloria's too, and tussles Nathan's hair after he sees him hiding by the table. Grandfather acknowledged them with a glum nod. Greetings, Lydia Brante. I remember you were kind to me when I was but a child, and you must be Nathan. You could barely walk when I last saw you. Your elder brother ignores Gloria completely, not even a greeting. You proceed to the dining room in a dignified manner and take your seats. The dishes smell delicious, but they merely punctuate the overwhelming tension at the table. Elborn is the only one with a friendly smile on his face. Yeah, 'cause the rest of you are jerks! Well, except for your mom, and your sister, and Nathan. The dinner is splendid, Lindia. Did you choose the dishes yourself? You have a truly refined palate. It warms my heart to know Stefan spent his early days with you. Womanly care always does a child good, no matter the estate. Your fork freezes in the air halfway to your mouth. You expect many things from a noble of the sort, but words of praise for a low-born woman are not one of them. You cast a glance at grandfather. He looks like he is about to choke on those words. It would do my grandson more good to stay at boarding school among his equals. Please, Grethel, parenting is no less important. Nothing can replace a mother's love. I cannot deny it. It saddens me greatly that my late sister could not be there to raise Stefan. But there was still a family for him, and he was surrounded by love. How could that be bad? Okay, so your father's first wife, this was her husband. I understand. And besides, his father was by his side all the while. A father's example is always the best. After all, Robert earned the judge rank the same way you did. Your grandson will surely follow in your footsteps, and who knows, perhaps even the younger men of the Brante family will contribute to the... You clumsy, low-born cretin. Everybody is startled by this sudden outburst. Grandfather's face turns red. He is glaring at a young lady servant holding a pitcher over a glass. Stefan is sitting right next to her, dabbing a napkin on a fresh stain on his jacket. Be gone this instant. The lady servant runs away, leaving the pitcher on a small table by the door. After a quiet moment, Elborn smiles again. It appears the servants have left us, yet dinner is far from over. Worry not, uncle. There are enough commoners at the table to keep us served with food and drink. What a dude, smack this man across the face. Stefan glares at Gloria across the table. She is sitting right next to you. She shrinks down and hunches over under his gaze. Father furrows his brow. Mother covers her mouth with trembling hands. Grandfather sneers. Stefan's gaze does not move. The silence lasts far too long. Then she starts to rise from her chair. Gloria, if the Brante gentleman so wish it. Your hands clench into fists under the table. How can he bring himself to humiliate his own family, his own mother and sister like this? It is all grandfather's doing. Stefan could not even bring himself to embrace father without his permission, And yet they are noblemen and they have the right to act this way? If there is any way this dinner can become even more unbearable, you do not want to see it. Try to act like nothing and make small talk with the guests. I think we play it safe. Of course, we'd get ingenuity. Stefan Brante. What do we need? Because we do need ingenuity for Gloria's thing, though. But for Stefan's thing, we also need nobility. Huh. We would get willpower from that, though, which would be a nice addition. Do we have any ingenuity? We have 1 ingenuity. Either way, we get a plus with Gloria. And we get an ingenuity, or we get willpower. I think we take the willpower this round. No, we take the ingenuity. We're gonna insult. We take the ingenuity. You grab Gloria by the arm and keep her seated. Stefan turns a puzzled gaze towards you. With a wry smile, you open your mouth. Stefan, how did you have the gall to speak without Sir Gregor's permission? Surely you wouldn't even answer Nature's call without his leave. Stefan looks at Grandfather, completely flabbergasted. And then chaos. Grandfather roars with fury. Your father stares you down with disappointed look on his face. Gloria tries again and again to contain her laughter. Nathan hides under the table. Sure, Elborn is unsure what to do. Stefan looks like he is about to cry. Then Mother takes your hand and leads you out of the dining room. You expected to be locked in your room as usual, but instead she leads you outside to an unlit shed. I'm locking you in here for the night, son. Your presence tonight would be an insult to our noble guests. It's time for you to learn the meaning of humility. I'm getting locked in a shed? You do your best to fall asleep inside the shed on the cold wooden floor. Anything to take this rotten day in sooner. Grandfather cries of outrage can still be heard from the house. Yes, right. Gloria sneaks out to the shed in the middle of the night. She calls to you from behind the wooden planks. There's gratitude in her voice. I never thought you would defy them like that. Thank you so much for standing up to them. Sir Gregor got so mad he forgot all about me, so I ran away. Sir Elbone took Stefan away with him. How are you doing in there? You're not going to freeze to death, are you? It's nothing, you tell her. You'll live. The important thing is that Grandfather and Stefan finally left her alone. You defended your sister's honor tonight. Hell yeah! That was the right call, boys. That was the right call. Hell yeah. And we got 1 into ingenuity. That's good. That's good, because we need 4. 11 years old, baby. 11! Hot, dry winds sweep through the city. I'm gonna wait for that to finish. Hot, dry wind sweeps through the city from the barren land around it. The noble residents of Anzati Brante prefer to remain in their chambers while the commoners huddle in tents or in the shade of the silver tree. You are on an errand right now. Your father wrote a letter to a noble acquaintance, and you are to deliver it. Thomas, the boy down the street, is tagging along. The two of you are inseparable now. Best boys! The errand is an easy one, so you decide to take the opportunity to loiter around the part of Anzanote where the nobles live. So here you are, in the middle of the city square, resting in an ancient brickwork by the old fountain in the merciful shade of the gargantuan silver tree. Thomas is by your side, lazily slouching on the edge of the fountain's basin. It's a hard life for commoners like you and me. Either you break your back in a workshop day and night, hoping someone will buy your goods someday, or you become a manservant to some noble. You never get a chance to enjoy life. This is our lot, you remind him. We work and endure and suffer, but Thomas waves your words away. My guy wouldn't say that shit. Yeah, I know all that already. Mother keeps drilling that stuff into me. We must be humble. Our strength is patience and persistence. So yeah, I say, but I want to make my fortune no matter what. So how ain't that living by my lot, I ask you? I ain't no man. But the lots, they ain't easy. Let's take you for example. Brante, your father's a nobleman. But even if that didn't make you one, just look at your hands. You never had to work as hard as me, but we have the same lot, so we're supposed to suffer the same. Or look at your father. He's a judge. He toils at the prefecture day and night doing his judging, and he's a noble. I've never seen the Arcanane work so hard as he does. You shrug. The Arcananes are a different race. The books say they were born to rule over humans. They are never commoners. They're always nobles of the sword by birth. They founded the empire after subduing all the human kingdoms on the continent. Humans will never be their equals. Arcanans are always better, smarter, stronger, and their skin is a noble shade of blue. If the books are to be believed, of course, you have never seen one yourself. Your idle chatter is suddenly interrupted by a rugged-looking guardsman dressed in black and green. He chases you away from the fountain. Common rabble like you have no place here. Screw you, guard. You hear the clattering of hoofs and wheels against the cobblestone and see flags bearing a coat of arms, a sable serpent on the field of vert. It makes you squirm. It is the Archduke's coat of arms, the Melanidas dynasty. The carriage door opens, revealing a young lady in a luxurious dress. You cannot look away from her. Those dainty shoulders suggested but not revealed by the cut of her dress, her black hair cascading over them, her stately slim silhouette, her pouty lips and prim nose, and those eyes dark like the night sky. I'm moving on from one chick to another. The way she moves, fluidly, gracefully, and most incredibly of all, her skin grows an azure blue. She is a masterpiece given life. She is an Arcanan. I prefer the first chick, personally. Clear the way for me. Yeah, she has a man's voice. The Melindris guardsmen work quickly to clear the way to the fountain for the Arcan lady. The searing sun dances on her skin in a bizarre pattern. With one elegant motion, she reveals a handkerchief, then leans over the brazen and wipes her head and neck with its cool water. Well, I'll be. That's Octavia Melandius, our Archduke's own daughter. This guy reminds me of Huckleberry Finn, not gonna lie, and I like him. The Arcanian turns away and proceeds gracefully back to her carriage. You see something slip out of her hand and fall onto the cobblestone right next to you. Her handkerchief. Don't touch it. Don't. If you touch it, dude, they'll fucking beat you because you touched it and she's a noble. It is right there by your feet. Intricate craftsmanship, expensive woven fabric, delicately decorated with emerald filigree. Your heart skips a beat. Will you dare draw the beautiful Arcanan's attention in order to return her lost possession, or would you rather not attempt to cross the chasm between you and her? -5 willpower. Matters of the heart. +5 willpower, baby. Or we can just... I don't know about this. What is matters of the heart? I experience... What do you mean that's what I get from this? I didn't get romantic feelings when I got squashed by a horse? That's lame. Dude, I should have let that lady die, that's for sure. Should we go for it? Let's go for it, dude. We need more willpower, though. That was probably fucking stupid. It takes a moment to overcome your fear. You follow the young lady and call out to her in a nervous voice. She turns around, her beautiful face marred by a puzzled expression. You extend the dropped handkerchief towards her. Lady Octavia's face contorts into a sneer. She signs to the guardsman indifferently. What the frick? A guardsman's gauntlet-clad hand slaps you in the face. It rings your head like a heavy bell. Your nose cracks obediently under the staggered force. Okay, to be fair to the game, I should have saw this coming. I should have saw myself getting beat up. The rest of you follow suit and you fall prone. You can discern the guardsman's voice through the painful din in your ears. Should I take the handkerchief back, lady? After a commoner's hands have befouled it, let him wipe himself with it for all I care. The carriage drives away. Thomas runs up to you and drags you back to the fountain. Your head is still ringing from below. The fateful handkerchief is still crumpled in your hand. She remembers me? She just ordered a guard to beat the shit out of me. Well, that was a nice time. Yeah, woohoo! I got an achievement. I got my ass beat. That was... I'm like doing some dumb... That was probably a dumb call, though. I should have taken the willpower, to be honest with you. 12 years old now, you overhear an important conversation. It is a spring night and mother has just sent everyone to bed. You walk past father's studies and hear voices coming from beyond the door. Beyond the door, grandfather is yelling and father is replying quietly. The elder Brante men are arguing about the place and of the commoners in the city. You sneak outside to avoid mother's attention and hide next to the open window of the study. Perhaps he'll mention you too. That low-life idiot at the gal to pay me a visit and beg me for some service. He had the insolence to ask me outright. He thought I was going to support his claim for the chairman's seat in the Lesser Quam. How dare he? Father, please listen. Mayor Egmont may be lowborn, but he carries a lot of the clout in Magra. He owns 5 iron mines. A friend like him could be quite useful should he become the chairman of the Lesser Quorum. I don't give a damn who this Egmont is, Robert. I like how he calls him Robert. Bob. What he is, however, is lowborn. His lot is humility and obedience. The likes of him can never rule anything. They're nothing but a flock of sheep that need a firm, noble hand to guide them. I wasted so many years trying to quash that quorum decree, but that accused Cornelius Tempest did everything in his power to make the emperor sign that pathetic screed, and now even lowlifes can wield power. True power, Robert. Just the right to discuss the size of the Archduke's tax, nothing more. That is only the beginning. What's next? Are they going to arm the lowlifes now? Oh my gosh, make them into judges if the Empire rejects the foundation and the lots, the entire edifice will crumble. Bah! Who am I telling this to? It is already crumbling. You, my son and heir, are a harbinger of its destruction. Father, I'm begging you. I do not wish to marry a third time. Lindia is a good wife and a dutiful woman, and a dutiful mother to my children. If you would only allow her to... I will allow them nothing, neither Egmont nor that freeloading wretch of yours. Wow, what will you want me to do next? Live by the laws of the lowborn? I can already see where this is going, and I'd rather run my own sword through my gut than live in a country where nobles and lowlife share the same rights. My only dream is to see the name of Brante in the Blue Book. But that dream will never come true. They will never call me Venerable El Brante, and it's all because of this marriage of yours. My only hope now is to hear Stefan's addressed in such a manner one day. Thank the twins I didn't let you ruin the boy. He is about to grow up a true nobleman. His children will bear the name El Brante. You have 2 more grandsons. Those spineless milksops from the common lot, they're incapable of anything. The best your middle son could do is sneak into the Imperial College and get ennobled by the mantle. Although I have grave doubts about even that, as for the downtrodden Nathan, I hold out no hope for him whatsoever. Poor Nathan. Your grandfather's heavy footsteps, the thudding of his cane, and the slamming of the door. It's time to sneak back home before you're discovered. Ooh, +1 to power. Power. Stronger. Faster. Smarter. School begins. Bum, bum, bum. You started studying at the school of Sir Tibor and began to master the sciences. Science? Psh, don't need it. Finally, the day comes when the teacher stops coming to the house. But before you can breathe a sigh of relief and put away the books, Father asks you to come to his study. You've grown! No, sorry. You've grown, my son. It's time for you to continue your education away from home. I've chosen a deserving school for you. Sir Tibor's School for the children of noblemen and well-off commoners. Naturally, it is not a boarding school for nobles, so you will study there during the day and come home in the evening. You share the news with your best friend Thomas. Sir Tibor's School, huh? Yeah, I gotta ask my parents to send me there too as soon as they get the coin together. Father says his workshop has toiled day and night for years to save up for my education. The school is based in an ancient estate of Arcanian design. The classrooms are tall and spacious, with massive benches. The sound of scraping quills and lectures on history and imperial law and theology echo under the vaulted ceilings. The rules are strict, the lessons tiring. Restless Thomas keeps getting distracted, and several times he gets hit, his hand slapped with a stick for it. Every teacher demands flawless mastery of their subject. Every day, Father asks you about your studies. You've already told him twice how Magra joined the Empire and how the nobles' courts of honor is different from the commoners' civil court and the city prefecture. Father keeps pressing you to work even harder. When it is time to go to bed, Mother will not let you go to sleep until you recite a newly learned prayer for her. And when it is time to go to school, you promise her every day that you will behave with great humility and steer clear of insolent behavior of any kind, for you still live by the commoner's lot, and that lot is hard work and suffering. Your first month in school draws to a close, and the teacher announces that there will be exams at the end of the month to determine the best and the worst students in each subject. Father insists that you devote all your spare time to studying law and history if you wish to follow in his footsteps. But when you speak to Mother every day, you start considering theology. You still remember the revelations and divine visions that came to you in your earliest years. You have only one more day until the exam, and you have locked yourself away in your room. It is already getting late. Your desk is covered with handwritten notes, surrounded by leather-bound books. Just looking at them makes you queasy, but you have to read through all of them again, at least for one of your subjects. There's a nagging thought in your mind. Thomas ended up in big trouble the other day. He got in a fight with several boys who live next street. They heard about your wooden fortress and got in an outrage about the fortifications built by commoners. They swore to dismantle it tonight. Thomas swore he would defend the fortress until the end. Perhaps you should abandon the bush and rescue the friend in need. But then you hear your little brother Nathan knocking at the door. He stands there shyly, not saying a word. He often does that, standing still and staying speechless until either you speak first or he runs away. But this time he actually says something. The door is locked. Are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help? Your head is spinning. This is the last evening before the school exam. If you fail, your family will be very disappointed. You have to refresh your memory on law or theology, either one or the other, but Thomas and your fort are about to be stormed. Why today of all days? You grind your teeth in rage at the thought. Nathan is by the door trying not to bother you. He wants to help you the only way he can, for reasons only to him. Will you accept his help? Focus on law and history. You get nobility. Go help Thomas. You get ingenuity and relations with Thomas. Study theology. You get spirituality and another with your mother. Spend a moment with Nathan. You get willpower. Oh, that's a hard one because I need that willpower, man. But I want to go help Thomas and get more ingenuity. Oh, that's a hard, dude. That's a hard one. What is my ingenuity's at 2 or 3? Oh, that sucks, dude. This is gonna be a hard one too. It's at 2. Or we could focus on law and get nobility. I kinda wanna do this. But if we help Thomas, dude, it's so hard, dude. It's a hard call. Willpower. Dude, let's go help Thomas. Let's go help Thomas. Push Nathan out of the room. He cannot possibly help you prepare for the exam. But once you are sure nobody is behind the door, you open the window and climb out into the yard and over the fence. And then you run like the wind to your wooden fort where Thomas is in peril. The battle for the fort has already begun. Thomas is cornered. He swings a loose wooden plank, fending off 3 boys at once. This is not a fair fight by any means. Your friend is rugged enough to have a fighting chance against 2 of them, but 3 is too many for him to handle alone. Where have you been? They're about to smash our fort. Get them! You flank the assailants and slam into them at full speed, channeling the cavalry of the holy warriors. You take them by surprise as you pull one of the aggressors away and knock him out with a punch to the jaw. Thomas cheers you on. You team up and make short work of the remaining foes. Your enemies retreat in shame. Thomas got a black eye and his knuckles are all covered in blood, and he looks unusually pleased with himself. Couldn't have done it without you. Just look at them trying to tell us where to build our fort. Okay, time to fix her up. Your score on the exam was merely satisfactory, but still well above a failing grade. The family is not too happy with you, but life goes on and your studies continue. You know you could have worked harder to prove yourself to your teachers, but your wooden fort still stands proud, and this is what matters. Exactly! And we got ingenuity, baby. Need more willpower, though. Your education continues. As you study imperial law, you come to realize that there is a certain hierarchy, even within the noble estate. It seems your father's status is not quite equal to that of more eminent humans of arcane gentry. You return home with this new information at your disposal. Father asks you about school after dinner, as he always does. And what is the difference between nobles and the mantle and those of the sword? You already have an answer ready. The latter status is Hereditary, sorry. The latter status is hereditary, meaning that it is passed down from father to son. After the arcanes, nobles of the sword are the most eminent humans in the empire. They own land and estates. They fill offices of the highest rank, and the names of their bloodlines are preserved within the Great Blue Book. Nobility of the sword can only be granted only by the overseer of the province and the emperor himself. And how are such eminent people addressed? With the honorific L before their last name. You respond Sir Augustus Elborn, for example. Father pats you on the shoulder, clearly pleased. Yeah! And what about the Arcanians and their status? What have you learned about them? The Arcanians stand above all human gentry. They are born to rule over humans regardless of their titles. No L is required when addressing them. They need no honorifics, for the names of their ancient dynasty are known to all. Father nods somberly. Yes, we can never be their equals. Do whatever an Arcanian tells you and never defy them, ever. Dude, I'm a rebel, bro. Like, I got a spiked up no mohawk, like, dyed it red, listening to Twisted Sister. Like, I'm a rebel, bro. Like, I'm gonna defy him. What about grandfather and me? Maybe some kiss in there, I don't know. Where do we stand as nobles? That is easy. Father and grandfathers are noble of the mantle. This title cannot be inherited, but it can be earned by any commoner as a reward for great service to the empire and the legion as a civil servant. Father suddenly grows quiet and looks at you with the eye intently. Yes, and someday you will earn a noble title too, son, all in due time. Do I really want one, though? Getting a drink. Sir Tibbers School. Sorry, I'm checking the time. Okay. Teaches children of all stripes. Nobles of the mantle and low-born parents can send their sons there, and every passing day the children of noblemen invent new ways to snub and bully the commoners. Most of the time the bully leading them is Diederic, the son of the secretary for the imperial chancellery, and a self-important slob. The son of a nobleman never pick on you, however. They know that your father has been ennobled by the mantle. However, Diederic, I'm just going to call him Derek, and his retinue soon choose Thomas as their favorite victim. Time and time again you ask your friend not to pay them any mind, and again Thomas grows angry and snaps at their self-satisfied mockery. It is early morning. The students are busy flocking to the classrooms for the next lesson. You wave Thomas over when you see him. He waves back at you, and then a bucket full of slop splashes on him. Needless to say, it is the work of Derek and his entourage. You hear his familiar creaky laughter. The tailor's son stinks. How dare he sit next to decent folk? Thomas clenches his fist. You're dead, Derek. He throws himself at Derek, haughty and entourage like a soldier ready to wage war. He attacks them first. This is just what they expected, and they are free to retaliate. He barely makes one movement before 4 pairs of hands grab him at once. Derek sneers and kicks your friend in the belly. Thomas gasps for air and starts coughing. You stand between them and Derek readies another kick. The nobleman's son cocks an eyebrow. Why do you mingle with commoners, he asks. Your father is a noble of the mantle. You ought to be friends with your own kind. Your equals, not this dirt beneath your feet. Behind them, 4 boys hold Thomas down as he struggles furiously. The other students are watching you frozen in fear. Derek hotly extends a hand to you. He clearly expects you to shake it. What will you do? Challenge Derek to a fight? Turn him over to the teachers? Be a rat? No. Admonish the nobleman's son. Admonish. Dude, but we get ingenuity. Yeah, but we gotta do what we think is right, dude. We're gonna challenge him to a fight. Spit on him, maybe. You do not shake his hand. Instead, you challenge Derek to display at least one dignity by fighting you one-on-one. That is, if he considers himself a nobleman's son, of course. Derek's face grows serious. There is no way for him to refuse this challenge in public. Derek makes a sign, and Thomas is released and pushed to the floor. He gets back to his feet, crouching and itching to rush at them again, but you hold your friend back. The teacher of Imperial Law comes into the room just in time. Everybody immediately returns to their seats. A day full of lessons begins. You keep daydreaming of Derek's face and how you are going to put an end to that nasty smile of his. Let's catch that bastard together and clean his clock. He hurt me, not you. The deal has been made. You tell your friend this is a matter of your honor now. Thomas huffs angrily but agrees. Derek is already waiting for you in a narrow back street by the school. His retinue by his side. You walk forward and give him an opportunity to end this dispute once and for all. This is the nobleman's way. If you win this battle, Derek and the other children of the nobles will never pick on the commoner's son again. If he wins, you will never stand in their way and protect other students. You will fight him one-on-one. Derek walks forward uncertainly. You both roll up your sleeves. You raise your fist in a fighting stance. Derek tries to copy your movements. You hit him first. Derek does manage to land several glancing blows, but he is fighting a losing battle. He has never been in a real street fight. Thomas nods in approval. You have learned a lot from him. It does not take long for Derek to stop fighting. One more blow and he squeals and raises his hand. You have won. You turn to the other nobleman's son with a victorious look on your face. No more teasing. If anyone else says so much as one bad word about Thomas, they'll pay. In blood. What? Derek Former disperses silently. Yeah! I got one in nobility. We should have probably taken the ingenuity, but I liked that. I liked that call better. We're 13. Your theology teacher tells you more about Anzanti. It is more than just the provincial capital. It is also a sacred place blessed by the gods. It is where the twin gods' first disciples spilled their blood, and from the blood grew the sacred silver tree. Its enormous foliage hangs over the city. You see its branches in the sky every day, but you have never approached the trunk of the tree yourself. Today you will be taking your first trip to the Silver Tree. Your class is visiting a service in the great temple by the tree's very roots. Thanks to your theology teacher, you and the other students will witness this landmark of the twins. Advent up close, everybody is excited. Soon you and the other boys enter the slums surrounding the church district of Anzanti. The roots are pulsating under your feet. They spread underground all throughout the area. Pathetic, cramped hovels and filthy streets surround the trunk of the tree. They are home to paupers, day laborers, and preachers. The people of the district bow humbly to you and point you towards the temples. Damn, I'm stuttering a lot. Sorry. They seem at peace despite the abject poverty in which they live. All who live directly beneath the tree are filled with its divine grace. Your teacher says people come here to make peace with the world and their fate in it. Your class is unusually quiet. Everyone is listening to the rustling of the leaves and the underground beating of the roots. The sky above you is obscured by the tree's canopy. You find the temple of the twin gods right next to the tremendous trunk of the tree. It almost seems a part of it. This is a crowd there, pilgrims dressed in traveling clothes, paupers and beggars, common people of the city, and the occasional well-dressed noble. There are arguments among some people who are gathered in separate small groups. Many people are wandering around, staring upwards at the tree's branches. The tree impresses you with its might and the calm emanating from it. You are filled with the desire to sit down and think of the world, to learn something about yourself, to touch the silver white bark and hearken to the whispering leaves. You are distracted enough to fall back from the rest of your classmates. You notice a small patch. It should take you right next to the trunk. A tall, red-haired woman walks out of the crowd of pilgrims. She is wearing a worn white robe. I got a good drink. She is no longer young, but her face is youthful and covered in freckles. Her hands clutch a book. You have never seen this lady pilgrim before, yet she looks at you almost as if she has recognized a lifelong friend. She beckons to you and says her name, Matilda, a preacher from Astinia. What she says next shakes you to your very core. It's commendable to see a young man so keen to learn the teaching of the twins, she says. Yet you will never follow the light of truth within the walls of the temple. Inside you will find only the lies about the lots. The erring's word of prophet is Satius, sanctified by the passages of centuries. Yet anyone who sets out to read the accounts of the twins' own lives know that they never so much as mention the lots. The red-haired preacher's words frighten you. They clash with everything you have ever heard from your mother, everything you have ever been taught at school. The lots are a lie? You freeze in fear. Should you argue with Matilda, or ask her for more information, or should you treat her as a madwoman and catch up with your classmates? You suddenly feel a small, warm hand grasp your own. You see a girl right next to you. She is just a little older than you, wearing a black dress, threadbare, yet almost spotless. Her hair is covered by a handkerchief, with only a single golden lock showing. Her brown eyes are burning with rage, her hand pulling you away from the red-haired preacher. You stare in confusion at the strange young girl, your cheeks flushed by the sudden touch. I'm just chatting up all the women I see. Is this what this is? There's just a bit of color on her cheeks too, but then she starts speaking to you quickly. Don't listen to her. She's dangerous. Come to the temple with me. Only there will you see the truth. I mean, I kind of want to listen to this chick, though. You stand there, surrounded by the crowd of the praying pilgrims and the sound of the shuffling feet, torn between two people you've never seen before, and each of them expect you to follow her. But all the while you hear the whispers in the wind and the tree's branches. The branches reach out for you, almost as if the tree wishes to speak to you itself. Can you hear its voice? Oh, I needed insight for that one. So leave them and approach the street. Stay with the red-haired pilgrim. Or another matters of the heart. Willpower -5. That takes willpower, though. Let's leave them and approach the tree. I think. Let's do that. I mean, I want to listen to the red-haired woman, but also approach the tree. The tree is beautiful. The silver-white foliage stretches and spreads towards the sky, held aloft by a trunk so thick it would be a challenge to walk around. The leaves rustle and whisper peacefully in the wind. The tree, it seems to speak to you. You walk away from the odd-looking preacher and the young acolyte, ignoring them as they call out to you. You walk around the temple and the crowd of people, getting closer to the tree with every step. Then you extend a shaking hand and touch the bark. It is unusually warm. You can feel a pulse beneath the roots. The tree is alive. Well, yeah. The roots are so gigantic they form large grottos, spaces of air embraced by the roots and the ground. You squeeze into one of these grottos. It is unusually bright and quiet, shielded from the noise of Anzanti. Right now, there's only you and the tree. You sit down. There are leaves rustling all around you. The only noise you hear is the beating pulse of life that flows through the tree, and this pulse beats in time with your own heart. You feel clarity and calmness, free of doubt and frustration. The tree speaks to you. Or are they your own thoughts, so strange, unfamiliar, and eye-opening? These thoughts speak of soothing love and crystal clear law, and of love and law intertwining to bring the miracle of life to you. You stop slouching, and your frown becomes a light smile. Hours pass like fleeting seconds. You lose track of time until you overhear someone shouting your name. Alas, it is time to leave this grotto. The sun is setting over Anzato now. The day was quick to pass. Your teacher frowns, ready to scold you. You mumble an exclamation and say you are ready to be punished for disobedience, yet instead the teacher nods in understanding. You keep looking back at the tree all the way home. Whatever happened to you today, you find it difficult to put into words. Interesting. The shadow of the past. Another school day has ended. You are making your way home, still mulling over the things you've learned from your teachers. The foundings of the empire, the eternal and unshakable rule of a single dynasty, the 3 estates, each with its own rights. What an odd sort of order the world has, and yet so mysterious. At least it sounds that way when your teacher talks about it. Mother is waiting for you on the porch. She smiles gently when she sees you, and yet her expression still shows great concern. Father left on a trip to several distant Magran towns a few days ago. Since then, Mother has been trying to tell you something, but she seems uncertain. Son, could you put your things away and come pray with me? You join Mother in prayers to the twins. She prays with fervent sincerity, her head bowed low, reciting the words of obedience to them and their greater design in a barely audible whisper. You repeat after her, just as she has taught you ever since you were a little boy. When the prayer ends, Mother sighs and turns to you. My son, you are 13 now. You'll be grown soon. It's time you learned about certain things that are important to our family, difficult things. It's about your father and me, about our marriage. You gaze curiously at your mother's eyes. I'm sure you've wondered about this before. Your father is a nobleman of the mantle, so how could he marry a commoner with another man's child? But you see, your father, when his first wife, Amelia Elborn, died, it was a painful blow to him. He lost the will to live, lost all purpose. He felt like his own destiny was cut short that day as well. And then he met me. You know the troubles I had in the past. I went to the prefecture as a penitentiary to ask them for help, protection, justice. When I was a young girl, I worked at a small shop that sold crocky dishes. A nobleman took a liking to me. May his name be forever forgotten. The twins know I was humbled and honored, his lot to rule, but he took me by force. Oh. Gloria, but he was outraged. How could I have the gall to burden him with lowborn progencies? He turned me out on the streets with that little baby girl in his arms. Mother's voice is shaking now. You take her hand tenderly. I had no home, no honor, nowhere to go, no one to help me. When I went to the prefecture, I didn't really think the judges there would help me find justice against my former master. But then Sir Robert heard my plea. His eyes met mine, and I believe that at that very moment the twins themselves granted him the gift of their love. Your father told me that there was nothing he could do to make the distasteful nobleman marry me, but he would never abandon me and baby Gloria, and if I agreed, he would take me into his own home. Tears are running down her cheeks. And I knew it, my son. I knew how much his honor and reputation would suffer, but caring for me brought him back to life. It's like he experienced another sacrament. He rediscovered his noble purpose, his lot to rule and protect and care for others, but his decision to marry me, he is still paying for it today. Your father had the courage to defy your grandfather, the founder of his bloodline. If only you knew how much he had to endure, my son. If only you knew the despicable rumors we heard about Brantes all over Anzati. It was only thanks to the efforts of Sir Gregor that the Brante bloodline managed to hang on to what little remained of its reputation, and now the noble families have all but forgotten about that scandal, thank the twins. Mother falls silent. She looks at you intently. Do you understand what she is telling you? My son, I am telling you this just to share the pain of my past. I have no reason to complain. Even Sir Gregor has accepted me through gritted teeth. But you need to understand the heavy burden our family must bear, including our scandalous marriage and Gloria's foul origin. And Gloria, she can never be a Bronte even if the elder Bronte agreed. The news would stir up this old scandal in the minds of high society, and if that were to happen, they would see even your birth as illegitimate. Mother sighs heavily. What I told you just now is something you have to know, son. I must be humble. I cannot tell you how to treat your family, but may I ask you a question? Now that you know all of this, do you still see Gloria as your Yeah? No, just fuck that lady. Like, why? Who would choose this one? Let's be honest. What if you were going for a good run, though? Yes, except Gloria as your sister. Filled with determination, you assure your mother that Gloria is and always will be your sister, and you want Gloria to be a Brante too. You want her to be part of your family. Who cares what the nobles of Anzante say? Mother beams with quite joy when she hears this. Woohoo! If only you knew how happy that would make me to have our family united at last. However, the joy from her face quickly gives way to concern. But I already owe good Sir Robert a debt I can never repay. He has given my daughter so much, a home and education. His care and advice. The Bronte bloodline could suffer so much from Gloria's existence. You should all just learn to accept her status as it is. What? No. Just then you hear Gloria carefully knock at the door in Mother's chamber. Mother, I couldn't find you. You happily greet your sister. Yes, she is your sister. No old secrets can ever change that. Mother gives you and Gloria a kiss on the forehead and returns to her prayers. You and your sister walk downstairs together. Mother is alone by her bedside now, thanking the twins with a quiet prayer from the Bronte family that have given her. You hope you can hear her. Baby +5! You're 13 now. Another theology lesson. Today's sermon is about the priests and why the clergy is the only one of the three estates with the right to interpret the lots and guide the other two estates accordingly. Thomas sits next to you, huffing and puffing as he fervently writes down the teacher's every word. But you've heard all of this from your mother many times before, so you take this one moment to daydream a little. Father promised to take you to the capital once your studies are complete. But the teacher suddenly casts a stern look around the lecture hall and raises his voice at one of your classmates. A boy by the name of Brian jumps out of his seat. The teacher asks him to repeat what he had just said. Brian freezes and seems to shrink. He tries to mutter a reply, but nothing comes out. The class becomes gated. Someone is about to get punished. The teacher now looms over Brian. The boy's cheeks are flushed and his eyes are covered in tears. You all watch the teacher iron pound book on as he raises it sharply, about to strike. Brian shrieks and raises his hand in front of him. A sudden flash, the teacher screams and buries his face in the arm. His hair is ablaze and his skin is covered in horrible burns. It's magic, real magic, just like in the books of the Margra Rebellion. The class freezes in shock. There's a dull thud as the iron-bound book falls on the floor. Brian's hysterical laughter rends the silence. He stands up from the bench, fire in his eyes and sparks on his fingertip. There are screams now. Students run for the door. The teacher tries to extinguish his burning hair. Brian snaps his finger, and the book of Asatius on the desk turns into the pillar of flame. He laughs and raises his arms, and the curtains catch fire. The screams grow louder as the fire howls. Brian's face is tense and violent. His mouth is spewing flames, and his whole body is shaking with laughter. He steps towards the door. You and Thomas glance at each other. He's going to burn the whole school down. Your friend's determination makes you brave. You run behind Brian and knock him off his feet. You both tumble to the floor, even though his body sears your flesh. Brian screams, convulsing, and grabs Thomas by the shoulder. With his burning hand, Thomas howls but stays put, then knocks Brian senselessly with several fierce blows to the head. There are servants fussing around the room now. They put out the fire and take away the teacher, his body covered in horrible burns. You and Thomas remain next to Brian, who is lying on the floor silent. Soon 3 men in black cloaks enter the door of the school, each bearing an indict sealed with silver. The Inquisition. You and Thomas are told to step away from the witch. They lock Brian's neck in a silver collar and take him away. Holy cow, man. One of the Inquisitors remained behind to tell the students what happened. That was magic, he explains, the ungodly power and that twists the minds of men into savage instruments of murder. Only the sacred shackles of silver can hold it at bay. Only the power of the twins can save us all from the evil grasp. The next day, you are forbidden from ever mentioning Brian's name again. He is no more. That's kind of creepy, but okay. Like, you just went off and killed him. A great day looms ahead. 100 years ago, Uther Tempest was noted to rule over the empire. Blessed by the twins themselves, the emperor's reign continues into the 2nd century. Celebrations in honor of the Tempest dynasty are held throughout the city, and the school is closed for 2 weeks because of that. No school for 2 weeks! Heck yeah! On one of these evenings, Father tells everyone that Grandfather is going to bring Stefan back home for the holidays. They say families should celebrate the day of entombment together. You could benefit from your elder brother's company with his noble education. Stefan might be able to teach you how noblemen are supposed to act. Dog, I act good enough already. Soon, Stefan arrives. He now handles himself differently. When it comes to ordering servants around and ignoring Glory, he is still Grandfather's double, but he is more grown up and now far less haughty towards you. It is a dark winter evening. A damp, cold wind sweeps through the city from the barren lands of Magra. You and Stefan are sitting in the library. He is telling you all about Eterna, the capital of the empire. It is full of so many wonders. The Imperial Palace, the enormous Temple of the Twins, the Military Academy, and the Imperial College. You have read so much about these places, yet he has seen them firsthand. Nathan enters the library. He looks concerned. I can't find Gloria. I looked everywhere. She's not in the attic, not in the sitting room, not in the kitchen. I heard she wanted to sneak off to the ruins of Char Melandrius' place. She could be lost in there. You and Stefan exchange look. Char Melandrius, the rebellious duke, the ruins of his place are a dangerous place. Some children claim his tainted magic still lingers there, which means you absolutely have to make your way there and back again to prove you are not afraid of the long-dead witch. Your brother tells you to wait. He leaves and soon returns with his sword in his sheath. Get ready. We're going to rescue Gloria. She must have gone to the ruins in a search of her inspiration for another one of her little rhythms. The two of you instruct Nathan to tell your parents you've gone for a walk in the square, and you and your elder brother head outside. You are confused by Stefan's action. He refuses to treat Gloria like a human being, so why is he so determined to rescue her? Stefan notices your expression. Are you wondering why I care about Gloria all of a sudden? I can't act in any other way, can I? The law of honor compels me to protect my family. Gloria will never be a Brante, but Father still took her into our house. I must respect his seniority and defend Gloria like she is one of our own. You are a Brante too, noble or not, which means it is your duty to aid me. The ruin of Charmelandria's place spanned an entire district. The place was abandoned centuries ago, and its remnants are overgrown with thick underbrush. The ruined place is empty, nothing but cold wind blowing over crumbling brickwork. Even the worst scum of the land steer clear of this place. You make your way through the ruins until you spot scattered sheets of paper covered in writing. Your sister's writing. You hear loud laughter coming from behind a dilapidated stone wall nearby. You pull yourself up to peer over it. Gloria is lying on the ground, face down, twitching and sobbing. A gaggle of drunk young thugs around her, crackling and swinging their arms about. You hear their shouts. Look at this lass sitting here rhyming words together. She thinks she's all noble, but don't you worry, you lowborn tart. We're going to teach you your place. One of the lotus spat on Gloria as she lay there. Get away from her this instant, you bastards, or I'll spill your guts. They respond with mocking laughter. Stefan draws his sword. The street thugs recoil in fear, but they soon notice that he is only one-armed man against many. They start reaching stones and sticks at him. Stand by my side. Don't let them flank me. Stefan's hands shake, but he looks ready. Oh, ready for battle. He is outnumbered for a moment, you hesitate. Perhaps it might be better to run for the nearby district and call for the guards. The young thugs are already armed with makeshift weapons. They start approaching you and Stefan cautiously. Oh, shit. I think we charge. A lot's trying to flank Stefan and surround them. Your brother's sword thrusts and feints methodically like in a training bout. The thugs keep dodging and jumping away. You manage to stay safe so far. If things continue like this, soon one of them will flank Stefan, kick the sword out of his hands, and bring him down. The ruffians are paying no attention to you, however. For a moment you want nothing more than to run away. You belong to the common lot. You are not allowed to bear arms, not allowed to fight. But then you take one more look at Stefan, who is almost surrounded, and at Gloria sprawled out on the ground. I can't act in any other way, can I? Your brother's word ring in your ears. You cannot run. You have to help him, no matter what. You pull a heavy rock out of the old wall. The tow-headed leader of the gang appears behind Stefan's back, ready to knock him down. No time to think. It takes you 3 steps to get to the foe. No time to think. You bash the thug's head in with the rock. The rest stumbles and falls down. Stefan seizes an opportunity to strike the lungs of the lout, and then scatter under his blows. You hear screams of the swishing of the sword. You assault them too, swinging away the heavy rock until you catch something pointy in the side. A wave of pain washes over you. Blood starts flowing down your side onto your legs. Stefan shouts something, but your mind is already fading fast. When the darkness disappears, did I die again? You find yourself lying in your bed. Stefan is in the armchair next to you reading a book. He is alive, with left arm in a sling and a black eye, but still alive. As for you, it hurts so much. When you try to breathe, you cannot help but moan. Quietly, Stefan looks up from the book. Don't try to get up. You lost a lot of blood. Fortunately, the Archduke's guards got there too late to see you swinging that boulder around. They'd have shown you no mercy otherwise. But I'm impressed, Devlin. You were unarmed, but you still fought them. You acted in defiance of your lot, that much is certain, but you fought for our family's honor. You know, brother, the nobleman's lot is also a great burden that few are able to bear. It takes courage not to fight everything you see, but to do your duty. Each and every decision a nobleman makes becomes a part of his family's legacy, following in the blood tide forever. I think about it often. A noble mustn't act weak. A noble mustn't suffer like people of the lowborn law. A noble must rule over them wisely. A noble must ensure that they have work to do. It's not merely your own lot you have to look after. You have to ensure that 1,000 others can live by their law as well. And there are so many more matters to take care of. Honor, dignity, tradition. It's tough. But it's what it takes to be a nobleman. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Not at all. No, I don't. No. For the first time in a long while, your brother looks at you as an equal. Oh, yeah! It was a pleasure to fight side by side. I'm glad you are and I are brothers. Hell yeah! Before long, the entire city hears how a gang of lowborn thugs assaulted Stefan Brante. Grandfather ensures that the brash young men are found. Some of them are taken into custody as soon as a lesser death releases them. Grandfather seeks vengeance on those who hurt his favorite grandson. Prefect Elborn, a friend of your family, promises to personally oversee the trial and ensure that justice is served. Stefan and Grandfather decide to stay in Anzanti until the trial ends. Father demands true death for every single assailant. You ask Father to explain something. How can a legal court sentence criminals to true death? How can worldly judgment overrule the twins' law? Your words are true, my son. Their law is second to none. Yet the twins' God also made the empire and all its ways. The court and law exist to execute the law of Haven here in the world. Should the court of law sentence a person to death, the law high above will always enforce it, and so every execution brings true death. The commoners who assaulted Stefan, a born noble, have committed a grave offense. There's no doubt about that. And yet, according to the emperor's decree, even commoners have the right to defend themselves when they are about to face true death. This means that all of us will have to appear at the trial and testify before the court. Evening's coming. Gloria visits your room. She looks crestfallen and her fingers keep reaching for her long hair. You put away your schoolbooks and ask what is bothering her. The trial is tomorrow. I thought I was going to appear there too, as an eyewitness. After all, this whole mess started because of me, but Sir Robert isn't even going to mention that I was there. Can you imagine? He says it would ruin the case. Why am I always in the way? Nobody ever mentions me. Nobody has to listen to me. It's like I don't even exist, and I thought Stefan standing up for me finally meant something. Maybe I would become part of the family, but no. Everything's back to usual now. Gloria tries her best to hold back the tears. You do your best to comfort her. Father just needs to keep the family out of trouble. If Sir Robert believes that I only bring trouble, why did he took me? Why did he take me into the house at all? Gloria runs away. You return to your books, but you can't help but get lost in your thoughts. What if they told the courts you weren't there either? How would you feel then? There is a knock on the door. It is Father. He closes the door behind them and sits next to you. There is an exhausted look about him. Son, you will be testifying before the court tomorrow. Please remember what I am about to tell you. Gloria wasn't at the ruins at all. You weren't there with your brother to inspect this historic site. The lowborn men insulted Stefan first and then attacked him. Stefan had managed to deal with the assailants on his own by the time the guards intervened. Gloria will cast suspicion on the case. If we mention her very existence to the court, the reputation of the family will suffer. Your grandfather will never forgive me if that happens. Do not let me down. We are all counting on you. Gosh darn it! This is a horrible predicament to be in. You recall the night of the fight, like it was a moment ago. Gloria sprawled under the feet of those crackling thugs, her poetry, her greatest treasure, scattered on the ground. She thinks she was a noble. Those were the words they spat down at her. But doesn't Grandfather mean the same thing when he denies that she is part of the family? But if you do what Father tells you, the trial will end quickly. These commoners will face true death for assaulting a noble. If you mention Gloria, things will get complicated and you cannot predict how the trial will end. Which is more important to you, what is right or what is just? Wow. These are some hard-hitting questions, man. What is right or what is just? Reputation -1, unity +1, nobility, spirituality, and you get -1 with Gregor Brante. Lie to father, but you'll tell the truth later. Support your father, but you get minus to unity. I think we do this one. Let's convince father to change his mind. You look father straight in the eye and tell him what you think. You are not going to bear false witness in court. He is a judge himself. How can he make you lie to Sir Elborn? And what of Gloria? Is she not a Brante too? Does she not deserve justice? Or maybe grandfather is right, and she is just a freeloader who deserves nothing but shame. If so, then how come father agreed to take her into his home and under his protection? Saying this to father is tough. Deep inside you pray he hears no weakness in your voice and sees no blood rushing in your cheeks. But it seems he is listening to you intently. The wrinkles on his forehead grow deeper as his fingers stamp her out a statico against the armrest. This is going to be tough, son, but you're right. You are right. I took Gloria into my home, and so I must protect her like my own daughter. This was my decision, and I must stand by it. I will speak with Stefan in the morning. Now I pray your grandfather never hears of my change of heart. The day comes. The trial takes place in the lesser hall of the city prefecture. Sir Elborn himself presides as the judge. You are the first to testify to the court. You tell the court the truth about the night, how the thugs humiliated Gloria, how Stefan and you came to help her, and how Stefan defended his half-sister. Out of the corner of your eye you watch grandfather's face grow red, yet he remains silent. There are confused whispers in the hall. The commoners on the trial cry out. It's the truth. Gloria was reciting poetry, and they simply told her she was defying her lot. The situation has changed by this account. Stefan was not acting in defense of her or another. He merely assaulted them first in order to retaliate against those who had insulted his half-sister. You spread your feet to stand firm and help before you speak next. You ask the hall, is it not a nobleman's duty to honor his family's name? Gloria does not have the Brante name, but your father took her into his home. Therefore, it was Stefan's duty to protect her, as he would have protected any of you. Contemptuous chuckle rushed through the courtroom. You have just reminded the city of your father's shameful second marriage. Stefan is to testify next. He reluctantly confirms your testimony, glancing at father and grandfather all the while. His arms in the sling is his main argument. Stefan wanted the commoners to stop insulting Gloria, yet in the end the commoners were the first to assault him. After a short recess, Sir Elborn returns and rises to deliver his sentence. The court of Anzenara finds you guilty of assaulting Stefan Brante, a nobleman who stood in defense of the honor of Gloria, a member of his household. All 4 defendants are sentenced to true death by hanging. Yeah! That's a win, baby. There is no wind, but you feel a gust sweep through the hall. The defendants turn pale. Their mothers are bawling and crying. Everybody in the court feels the dreadful power of the law, and it's stern and just. I mean, I don't know if these guys should be hung for what they did, but, you know. That very power has been invoked by this sentence, and by that very sentence, the lives of the 4 young men are literally forfeit for all eternity. The gallows await. Stefan stands in the front row. Father stands next to him. The wood creaks. The trapdoors open under the young men's feet. They dangle in the air, wheezing and retching out for support with their feet and their final movements. Why they gotta be so gory with this, huh? Why they gotta explain it so much to me? Grandfather's silence ends at home. He screams at you and father, at Stefan and Gloria. This trial is a disgrace. His screams are punctuated by the thudding of his walking stick against the floor. Father says they had to defend their family. It would have truly been a disgrace if they had shrieked their responsibilities. Stefan excuses himself to bandage his arm in order to stay out of the argument. Gloria is quiet but glowing. You stay quiet too. It's all over now. It's all over now. Nobody bullies Gloria on the streets anymore. Those 4 commoners are dead forever. Their families were taught a cruel lesson. So will it be with anyone who dares to raise his hand against the nobleman. My grandfather's pissed off at me again. My honor takes a hit too, but hey, we get unity, nobility, spirituality, and I got -5 willpower, which, had to spend some willpower to do a good thing, you know what I'm saying? Which, Stefan leaves soon after the trial alone. Grandfather does not go with him. For the first time in a long while, he lingers in the house for more than a fortnight. Father says Sir Grether is ill and needs rest. Several months go by, and it becomes clear that Grandfather will not recover. The eldest Brante is mostly bedridden now. On some days he has trouble recognizing people. When he means to address you or Nathan, he calls you Robert, your father's name. But when he does go out of bed, the house grows empty. The servants hide, Mother locks herself in her chambers, and you and Nathan run outside or quietly in your rooms. If Grandfather sees anyone in the hallway, he begins laminating. Oh, nobody heeds the lot any longer. Any harlots with a child can marry a nobleman these days. Children have no respect. His son betrayed him and let him down. And oh, how the Brante family has lost its honor. Again and again you hear Grandfather knocking at Mother's door, screaming that it's all her fault. He blames her for ruining his chances to find bliss in the hereafter. He blames her for dooming him to suffer at the foot of the pillar. You overhear your parents talking one night. Mother begs Father to move Sir Gregor to his old home and spare the children his decline. Father refuses her outright. It is late at night. The hot, dry winds are coming. The house is empty save you, Nathan, Gloria, Mother, and Grandfather is in his bed. Father has left for the capital on business. You are engrossed in the history of the empire, snapping out of your reverie. Only when the clock strikes midnight you blow out the candle and get ready for bed. You hear the shuffling of heavy feet outside your door. You see the light in the hallway. Grandfather, what could he want in the middle of the night? You peek into the hallway. Once he's passed, Grandfather's figure sways as he heads for the door of Mother's chamber. He opens the door and walks in. You hear him say something quietly. Your unease is stronger than your fear now. You sneak closer to hear his words. You foul commoner. I have to cleanse my sin. I have to save my soul. You are my greatest sin. You and what you have done to Robert and his family. I should have put a stop to this marriage. I should have stopped Robert from tainting this house by your presence. Why didn't I do it? Please, Sir Brante, I beg you. Silence! You will do my bidding. Fire will cleanse all low-born filth from this place. Fire and flame will free Robert from this disgrace. This is for my son's sake, for my sake. I need to eradicate this low-born filth. The twins, they are calling for me now. I can feel it. I beg you, please have mercy. Mother begins to try. You run into the room, unable to stay out of it any longer. Grandfather's gaunt figure looms over Mother's bed, a lit oil lamp in his head. Mother is sprawled out on the bed, crying. Please, just let me warn the children, I beg you, Sir Brante. Your steps are loud enough to be heard. Grandfather turns and looks at you. Stay out of this. Be useful for once. Worldly matters concern me no longer. I see only my sins now, and a sinner I am. A sinner. The twins, they forgive no one. They will judge me by the pillar. I must do something. I don't want to suffer for all eternity. Go away. Mother is crying. Grandfather still looming over the bed. Driven to madness, his hands shake as it clutches the oil lamp. His eyes shine in the dark. He truly believes this has to be done. You are suddenly torn. What if he is right? What if he is the only way for his soul to find salvation? There's no going back now. You have to find a moment to act. Let it all happen? One away to rescue Nathan and Gloria or stop grandfather. I think we gotta waste the willpower. We gotta do the heroic act. You look at grandfather defiantly and step towards him. He stares you down with rage and throws the oil lamp at the floor. You manage to catch it, but just barely. Several drops of the hot oil hit the rug, not nearly enough to start a fire. The lamp's glass is blistering hot. It burns your hands, but you still hold on to it safely. You lowborn scum, you ruined everything. You're every bit like your mother. You. Enraged, he takes a swing and you squeeze your eyes shut, but he does not hit you. Instead, there is a deep exhale. You peek at him with one eye. Just in time, you see him collapse, all his strength fading away. His chest is heavy, his face a grimace of contempt. Another heavy exhale. The contempt is gone. There's only fear now. Grandfather's eyes open wide, almost in surprise. He exhales. His eyes grow dim. Mother is there, whispering a prayer. She is shaking violently. You put the oil lamp gently on the bedside table and call for the servants to carry the body away. It does not disappear. True death has found him. He will never return. You spend the rest of the night with Mother in the sitting room. She will not let go of your hand. For many, many nights afterwards, she keeps seeing grandfather's shadow out of the corner of her eye. Father returns from Eterna the morning after. He is unusually composed as he arranges for the funeral. The house becomes quiet, not the looming heavy sort of quiet of the past few months, but the calm relief you all feel now that the crazed old man is no more. At last, Gregor Brante, the family's patriarch, has departed for the hereafter. He has truly died. Hell yeah. That crazy old bastard tried to burn my mother? That's fucked, man. Your grandfather, Sir Brante, left this world forever to meet the twin gods. Oh, shit. The night of grandfather's death shook your family to the core, yet no matter how it happened, your grandfather Gregor Brante is dead and will never return. He was a fearful shadow looming over the rest of the family, the Brante patriarch exerting his influence on all the lives below him, and all of you will remember him forever. Father is the new patriarch of the family now, yet he still cannot bring himself to sit at the head of the table where Sir Gregor used to preside. Stefan locks himself away in grandfather's bedroom every day. He will not talk to anyone. Gloria and Nathan still jump at every sound that so much resembles the knocking of his walking stick. Mother spends all day in prayers at the temple. And yet the house has become calm and quiet with his passing. But there is one more thing that must be done. The final farewell. It weighs heavy upon your soul. The day comes to pay your final respects. Father goes to the tomb alone, save for Stefan, Nathan, and you. Mother and Gloria stay at home. Only nobles, those who may become nobles, may join this ritual. There is a solemn silence as you walk to the crypt. Father is the one who breaks this silence when you finally reach the door of the family crypt. Your grandfather built this crypt, and now he will be the first Brante to remain here in body forever, the first ever noble in our family. It is our duty now hold to the sacrament of the flowing bloods for Sir Gregor. He will honor his legacy and join him as the founder of the noble Brante dynasty. Stefan perks up at his father's words, his hand still clenching grandfather's sword. A tradition decrees that it must remain in the niche above the owner's sarcophagus. Nathan, on the other hand, looks more frightened now. Stairs carved of white stone led you downward. Deep in the gloom of the crypt, atop a pedestal, you see the sarcophagus that holds grandfather's body. Father takes a moment to compose himself before paying his final respects. Gregor Brante, my father, brought our family into nobility through his unshakable will. He was a judge and a loyal servant to the Empire. He lived his life as if he had been born a noble, and he never strayed from the path that he had chosen. He sought to make the Brante family ennobled by the sword so that our children's children might be of noble birth. The twins know I abided by my father's words all my life, even if I could not obey him every time. Father lets of a bitter chuckle. Let's off. Should be off a bitter chuckle. They have some spelling errors in here, man. Lets off a bitter chuckle as he says this. Stefan glares at Father, then turns to glare at Nathan at you. After all, the two of you were born at Father's shameful decision to marry a commoner. All of you remember his disastrous passing. He did not die the true death he deserved. Yet we all must know that he fought for the future he believed in to the very end, and he would be proud to see his family bid him farewell with this sacrament of the nobility. Stefan still glares at Father sullenly, his fingers remaining clutched around Grandfather's sword. Nathan barely pays attention to the words. He looks around with unease, his arms folded across his chest. Father reaches into his jacket and pulls out a slender dagger, thin and sharp. He takes off his gloves. Watch me carefully, my sons. Make a small cut on the palm of your hand and let your blood flow into the duct of the wall of the crypt. It will join your grandfather's blood here and flow forever. Then ancestors and progeny will become as one. We shall enter our family's blood tide and receive grandfather's final blessing, for his blood flows first in our blood tide. We will respond to you. You are part of him and he is part of you. With a quick motion, Father slices his hand and holds the bleeding cut above a small opening in the wall. Then he hands the dagger to Stefan. Stefan cuts his hand without hesitation and does as Father did. You receive the dagger next. The dagger's handle feels warm. You hesitate for a moment as you look at the palm of your hand. If you participate in this ritual, you will enter the Brante blood tribe. You, a low-born child, a child who is still a commoner. Are you ready to claim your legacy as a descendant of the nobleman Gregor Brante? The eyes of your father and brother are upon you. Nathan, the youngest brother, will follow your example. You can be certain of this. What did I do wrong there? Oh, I needed higher nobility. Well, I guess we'll bleed. Yeah, let's bleed, guys. You remember that fateful day when you were 8, the day when you tried to choose a different lot for yourself. You violated the ritual in the temple, you kissed the sword, and against all odds you said you had the right to be a nobleman. And now you must confirm this right. You must join the Brante blood tribe. You grasp the dagger and firmly then hold the blade to your skin and quickly drag it across your palm. Drops of your blood fall onto the duct, flowing further into the crypt as they combine with the blood of your father and your brother. The fresh wound burns on your hand. What are you doing, Devlin? Why did you have to take these two along? Father, this ritual is for nobles, and you two aren't even noblemen. His eyes met Father's stern gaze. No one is to interrupt the sacrament. Indignant as he is, Stefan falls silent. You hand the dagger to Nathan. Your younger brother hesitates. Father offers him help, but Nathan shakes his head. Finally, he makes a cut, and Nathan's blood joins yours in the duct of the crypt. Dude, I'm in a cult! We're in a cult! The deed is done. It is time to close the sarcophagus. The lid falls into place with a heavy, resonant thud. Then suddenly, you all freeze as each of you hears your late grandfather speak to you. His voice is loud as it rings in the depths of the crypt, and yet he speaks to each of you separately. So you think yourselves my descendant, son of a low-born woman. Very well, time will tell how much nobility you have within you. But know this, I am your ancestor. You are my flesh and blood. I will be watching you always, and my shadow will follow you forever. Do not let me down, boy. Grandfather's voice falls silent. You glance at your father and brother astonished. Save for Stefan, everyone else is dumbfounded as well. The ritual is complete. Stefan reverently kisses the grip of grandfather's sword and places it in the alcove above the sarcophagus. Once all is done, you leave the crypt together. Cool, fresh wind blows in your face as you return to the surface. Stefan storms off to the carriage, fuming. Father stops halfway to the carriage and hugs Nathan and you briefly. Now your blood belongs to the dynasty and Sir Gregor Brante as well. I mean, I don't know if it's the best choice, but we did get an achievement. So to get all the achievements in this game, you'd have to be a massive cocksucker through one playthrough. Another day of school is behind you. You're now wandering your district, taking your time before going home. It's getting dark. Soon you are walking past the splendid mansion of Court El Velasco, one of Margra's richest landlords. You hear a familiar voice from the other side of the iron fence. It is Stefan's voice. It is followed by the sound of a young lady laughing. You peek through the fence and into the mansion's garden, and indeed, there you see your elder brother dressed like he is going to meet the emperor himself. He is currently busy helping a pretty young lady out of the window. She locks him in an emotional embrace. You recognize her, Maria El Valencio, Count El Valencio's daughter. And as the whole city knows, she is already betrothed to another young nobleman from a far more illustrious family. Aw, snap. Aw, snap. Oh, Maria. I thought I would help you down to earth from your heavenly abode. Oh my gosh, he talks like a prick. But your very touch brings me to the heavens. Oh, I wanted to punch him when he said that. Not gonna lie. He picks the Count's daughter up and holds her in the air. She laughs almost imperceptibly and kisses him on the cheek. But then Stefan takes her by the chin and turns her to face him. Her lips join in. A flurry of emotion washes over you and you watch this happen. Yeah, you vomit in the bushes. Gosh. Stefan is putting the reputation of his entire family at risk, acting so frivolously with the Count's daughter may turn the Count's influence against all the Brontes, and yet Stefan always speaks so highly of noble bearings and composure and family honor. Yeah, what a frickin' dick. Stefan's face is glowing with joy. Your older brother, he is happy, truly happy. You've never seen Stefan like this, and his arms hold the court's daughter in a tender embrace, so gently as though he fears to hurt her. And Maria reciprocates his feelings, but you really rob them of their secret joy. If you ever speak to him about this, no one else must hear it. You wait by the gate patiently until Stefan decides to return from the escapadas. He is startled when he finally notices you standing by the gate. Really, I get +1 if I say remind them about his noble honor. I get +1 with his relations? That's gay. That's just stupid. I would rather be like, hey man, I'll aid him in his cause, dude. Should I? I don't know. Should I aid him in his cause, or should I be like, hey man, maybe you should be more noble like you always tell me, dick? I don't know. I say we aid him. Let's aid him in his cause. What are you doing here at this late hour? Is there something you wish to tell me? Yeah, there is. You confess to Stefan that you saw him today in the El Valencio garden with the court's daughter. count's daughter, sorry. This affair puts both families' honor at risk, yet you say you are happy for him. You can see how much he cares about her. No matter what, it is worth the risk. Stefan can trust you with this secret, you assure him. The two of you will keep it together. Stefan reacts to you with anger at first, but your supportive words calm him down. Got all the makings of a professional spy, but you're right, the risk is too great. Your aid will not be amiss. You are no nobleman yet, but I hope your word is worth my trust. From that day on, you help Stefan and Maria avoid attention. Dude, I'm a legend. On any occasion, you even have to distract a Valencio manservants and lead them away on a wild goose chase through the district. In the end, you are never caught, and you earn your brother's yet another night with his beloved. They are both aware that the days of their hidden love are numbered. I'm a legend. But how will your espradas affect the family's reputation? You and your brother agree. Whatever happens, happens. Young love is worth the risk. But bro, my brother's gonna Romeo and Juliet this stuff, and I'm gonna be so happy because that means I'm next in line. I mean, what? Yeah. That event happened, dog. How close am I, dude? This event is a conscience of your previous actions, condition met. Baby, another event is happening. Today, you and Thomas are to explore the streets of the Castle District. You delve deep into the district, right to the old siege walls of Enzonti. The city needs these walls no longer. There are no more enemies left for the Empire to fight. Since the twins descended and chose the Tempest dynasty to rule the Empire, it has spread one sea to sea, bringing its rule and peace for many generations. The two of you gaze in awe at the old charcoal black marks on the former fortress walls. They say magic wielders during Charmelandius's rebellion could conjure gusts of fire with their own hands. The rebellious duke fought against the emperor and the church of the twin gods in the days of yore. But nothing remains as the rebellion now, save for scorched ruins and parched land through Magra. You and your friends study the old walls and daydream about the battles that took place here during the rebellion. But then you hear a muffled voice coming from somewhere below the ground. You look around and find a hole in a brickwork where the sounds are coming from. Naturally, you take a peek. Who wouldn't? You see a half-ruined hall built below the ground and a handful of young men and women standing there in the dark. They look a little bit older. They look a little bit older than you and are wearing plain shirts and dresses. A young man is standing on a piece of crumbled wall, reciting some of his poetry. It tells the story of a nobleman who fell into a puddle thanks to his gaudy cloak, and none of his noble bearings was of any help. He ends it with a farcical blow. You hear applause and laughter. He gets down from the crumbled wall, then a young girl takes his place. You cannot see her face in the darkness, but hers is a voice you could recognize anywhere. It's Gloria. Your sister begins to recite a poem she has written. Nay, Gloria, yours is no proper life. You are to be a mother and a wife. Accept the kitchen apron for a gag. And lo, another voice now takes a crack. You straying from your lot, you've got some nerve. Eyes down and be obedient and serve your husband's children, wife. They are absolute. Nay, Gloria, you are but a rotten fruit. You lean down to her to hear her better, but sand and stone fall from underneath your feet and into the underground hall. Gloria looks up and meets your gaze. Thomas pulls away from the hole. So they're reading poems, imagine that. They sure hate nobles, and even Gloria. I never thought your sister could do that, but they're sure gonna get in trouble if they get spotted by an adult. bad-mouthing a noble will get you flogged into next week, not to mention all the trouble you can get into for writing poems if you're a commoner. You'd better tell your sister to lay off. We'd better stay away from them too. You nod. Being around these people puts Gloria in great danger, but you know your sister. It will not be easy to tell her this. Your adventure into the castle district is done for tonight. You and your friends return home. During dinner, Gloria will not look at you. Her hair is all disheveled. Is she afraid or is she ashamed? Or are also worried sick? These literary gatherings may spell danger for your sister, but for an illegitimate child like her, there are so few ways to forge her own path. Dinner is over. Soon you and Gloria are alone at the table. What are you going to tell her? Keep Gloria's secret. You get ingenuity and +1 with Gloria. Convince Gloria to leave the society. You get nobility and spirituality. If anyone ever hears about these poets' gatherings, it could be bad for Gloria. That is true. That's a hard one, man. I think we keep her secret. We're gonna keep her secret and hope nothing bad happens, I suppose. Gloria finally looks at you. You wink at your sister and promise to keep her secret. You praise the poetry you were able to overhear and confess that you were impressed. A big, joyous smile appears on her face. I'm so happy, brother. I thought you were about to tell me to stop going there and say what Mother says about my lot, but I'm glad you're not like that. Me and my friends, without our poetry, we don't have anything else left. Nothing but our abysmal daily lives. At least we can laugh about it this way. You get serious and tell her that her friends need to work much harder to hide their meetings. After all, the secret passion could end badly for them if they get caught. The best way out of this is to meet in a new place every time. You list off several abandoned places nearby where nobody will look for them. You promise her that if she ever comes close to danger, you will be there to protect her. Gloria nods and plants a kiss of sisterly joy on your cheek. Yeah! Nice. Dude, the music in this claps, man. Okay. Grandfather's passing and last respects have left a mark on the entire family. His words relayed from the hereafter keep echoing in your mind. You still do your best to avoid the memory of grandfather's last night and spend most of your time in the city streets with Thomas and your other classmates. The road by the house reminds you of another clash with death. Sometimes as you walk along that road, you recall Sophie, the beautiful girl with the wonderful eyes and the terrifying thundering hoofs. You have not seen Sophie since that fateful day. The children who live nearby say your parents sent her to a rich Arcanian family, the Ottens, as a servant. The sun is set, the pillars shine palely in the dark sky. Thomas is ill, so you decide to visit him and tell him the latest news. The streets seem oddly agitated tonight, full of horses, cloaked men, strange faces, and hushed voices. A young nobleman in a heavy embroidered cloak is walking back and forth, clutching at his sword nervously. There's a grimace of rage on his delicate blue face. He is Arcanian. You overhear voices. Sir Otten, the girl's not at home. We searched the house. Her parents swear she ran away from home too. They claim they wanted to bring her back. Just do whatever it takes. Turn this lonesome district upside down if you must. But bring my servant back to me. She's here. Sophie ran away from the Arcane? How can this be? There's only one place in an entire street where a person could hide, the abandoned Moral House, 4 houses away from yours. You head there, doing your best not to attract attention. The lopsided house, built of yellow brick, has been abandoned for 20 years or so. You remember playing there as a boy. You glimpse a figure inside even before you enter, a pair of eyes glimmering in the dark. You would recognize them even after another 4 years. Sophie has grown up. She is also an adult now, and her face is full of fear. She is not the easygoing girl next door that you remember. She finally recognizes you. Oh, it's you. Been quiet. Been quiet. They're all look. Be quiet. Sorry. Be quiet. They're all looking for me. I ran away from my youngest Otten. I might be in there for a lesser death here, but I'd rather die than spend another day in their slavery. I'm just a thing to him. Just a toy to play with. Ugh. Sophie winces and closes her mouth as she says this. There is a glint of bright yellow deep in her eyes. I ran to my parents. I told them all about the men I had to serve, and they went and alerted the Ottens. They don't want to be the target of their eerie, but you aren't going to tip them off, are you? The barking and shouting are getting closer. Sophie's voice grows quiet. She runs off to the darkest corner of the house before you can answer. One of the Ottman servants so close you can hear his cloak swishing around the ground. He noticed something and calls for the others. There are more voices around you. They approach the house from the yard and surround it. One of them seems particularly snappy, annoyed and impatient. You've already heard the voice today. If you're in there, girl, you'd be wise to come out and quit wasting my time. All will be forgiven and you will be back where you were. You know it, and if you don't, I'll drag you out by the hair. The hilt of the young Arcanon's sword bashes at the door. He is about to lose his patience for good. Sophie hugs the wall in the darkness, trying to stay still. She glances at you. What will you do? Your heart is racing. Can you act against the arcane order? Do you have the gall to defy the mighty nobleman? Help Sophie, -5 willpower. I think we do this because I can't lose my willpower right now. So we're going to try to stop Otten. You pull yourself together and walk slowly to the half-collapsed doorway. Sophie stays behind. The tall young Arcanon stares you down. His coinciding smile dripping with scorn. In your most assertive voice, you answer his question. He will find no fugitive girl in this house. What are you doing here, boy? I wasn't speaking to you. Out of my way. Otten needs no permission to enter, so he steps inside. You stand in his way. You have already assured the young Arcanon there is no one else inside. You have done him a great service. What makes him doubt your word? Why, you lowlife, how dare you stand in an Arcanian's way? You must have lives to spare. Otten backhands you with immense strength, enough to send you flying. The Arcanon draws his sword and raises it to the air. But then one of the men shouts, "Sure, there she is." "No, dude!" The Arcanon turns around and briskly walks away. Sophie used your distraction and climb out the window in the back. You jump to your feet and escape the house in the same way. Sophie's slight silhouette is gaining distance far ahead. One of the Ottman men is chasing her down, ready to catch her at any moment. But then, something unbelievable happened. Sophie lets out a dreadful scream, and the air around her sizzles with golden sparks. Ottman's men fall to the ground, clutching his head. Sophie freezes for a second, as though uncertain of what she just did. What was that? Otten screams at her. Otten screams at her right next to you. So that's how it is, eh? The wench is a witch. Caesar! Magic? Sophie's a witch? Sophie's silhouette disappears down the alleyway. Ottman's men give her chase, but they will never find her in the dark, sprawling district. You watch her go. Will you ever see her again? The runaway girl becomes the talk of your district for an entire week. You overhear that Sophie managed to flee the city. The Ottmans are furious. After that sudden appearance, she disappeared from your life once more. You will not see her again until much, much later. Damn! 15 years old, baby. Gosh, this chapter's taking forever, man. I'm already 2 hours in. You're about to turn 15, just one step away from adulthood. Mother is acting anxious at dinner today, barely touching her food. You exchange glances with Gloria. She carefully tells you that she wants to go to the tailor. Mother shudders, and her hands clench into a fist. No, don't you dare leave home today. I forbid it. That dirty heretic Fadus is preaching his lies under the silver tree today. Twins willing, I don't want you two to hear any of that. You and Gloria glance at each other again. Fotis, he is a patriarch, the head of the clergy throughout the entire province. That is the first time you've heard Mother speak like this about a priest, especially such a high-ranking one. Once you leave the dinner table, Gloria comes to your room with a cunning expression on her face, like she's about to play a trick on someone. She has a plan. The two of you should sneak out of the house and go to the silver tree. You simply must hear that sermon for yourself. What's so bad about Patriarch Fotis? Why does Mother hate him so much? You two are grown-ups now. Surely you have the right to know. You agree with your sister. Together you sneak out from under your mother's watchful eye and hurry to the silver tree. The temple block is full of people from all ranks of estate. There is barely any room for you two to squeeze through the crowd. The crowd has gathered around the very roots of the tree. Gloria suggests that you climb up to the roof of a nearby building so you can hear and see everything better. And not a moment too soon, from the roof you see a tall, silver-haired priest step into the platform by the tree, dressed in the common black robe that looks far beneath his rank, yet he stands like a noble brute before the crowd. Behind his back is a banner flapping in the wind, the open book. This is the symbol of the new faith, the crowd whispers. The patriarch holds his hands up to the sky, and the entire temple block grows quiet. He began his sermon, his vibrant voice rolling across the square. Fotis speaks of a great mistake. We entrusted ourselves to the lot as the only way to fulfill divine providence in this world. But for all those years, the will of the twins has been interpreted for us by a single man, Prophet Estius. The twins are ever watching from atop the shining pillar. Of this we have no doubt. But how can we so blindly believe that we truly follow their will by following the lots? Have we not seen the 3 lots of Estius fall again and again to fail again and again to answer the questions of how we ought to live our lives? Have we not seen people change their lots in life again and again without being smitten by divine wrath? Every person born, whether human or Archean, low-born or noble, must find their lot and their way to the gods on their own. From now on, we will seek the gods in the accounts of their own lives, in their own acts in this world, and in their own words as they echo within us, and as we heed the voice of the twins within. We will each find their path for us on our own. The crowd at the silver tree listens to the patriarch's speech in stunning silence. You glance at your sister, her eyes glistening with tears as she hears Fotis' words. Then suddenly a hoarse cry rises from the crowd. If there are no lots, does that mean the nobles are going to till the fields and the commoners are going to bear arms? The crowd begins to murmur. The patriarch raises an arm and inhales, ready to answer. An odd figure leaps from the crowd onto the platform. A dirty beggar dressed in rags. A knife flashes in his hand. The blade slices. Blood starts spurting from Fotis' throat. He slumps over and collapses. A dark brown puddle spreads across the platform where he had stood. Gloria clutches her mouth to suppress a shriek. A few moments of stunned silence, and then the screams begin. The people are frantic. The temple guards try to restore order in the crowd, but to no avail. An old woman dressed in an inquisitor's cassock tries in vain to apply pressure to the patriarch's wound. The nobles draw their sword. Dogs are barking. The crowd is pushing and shoving. Children are crying. The entire square by the tree is in chaos. From the roof you see the moment when people start trampling each other, howling, praying, shouting. Gloria tugs on your sleeve. Time to go. You climb down from the roof and run. You return home without exchanging a word. Mother has been in her room all the while, so no one noticed your absence. Gloria locks herself in her room. You do not discuss the thing you have just seen. They are too frightening. But your parents discuss every little detail of the blood-stained sermon over dinner. This is unbelievable. A patriarch murdered in plain sight. The gendarmes and the Archduke's guards have searched every corner of the slums, and the murderous beggar has disappeared without a trace. I can't even imagine a more gruesome crime. Fotis has died a true death, never to return from the hereafter. Nathan, but how? Why can't the patriarch be reborn? He's so close to the twins. Such is the way of the world, my children. Once you are granted great power by the twins' will, there's no hope for you to come back, not even after the first of your deaths. Emperors, their powerful vassals, heads of the great arcane dynasty, patriarchs of the church, none of them are destined to be reborn. Fotis is gone forever. I fear for his soul. It was lost in doubt. Will the twins accept him upon the peak of the pillar? We must pray for the patriarch, children. Let us hope he manage to return to the old faith before the moment of his passing. But there is still little hope for that. Ooh. So the world's changed now. We're slowly moving more and more into disaster. Tomorrow you turn 16. According to imperial law, you will be a full adult. Your time as Sir Tibor's school has ended. You have studied enough to apply for the Imperial College and learn the judge's trade there. You are to travel to Eterna tomorrow. Your friend Thomas will go there with you to try his luck in the Imperial capital. Mother and father prepare you for the long journey. Remember, son, there's only one goal for you. You must become a student at the Imperial College. Your teachers dragged you through all those books for a reason. You have the knowledge and fever to be ennobled by the mantle as I was, and as my late father was before me. And who knows, maybe one day you will be the one to write the name Brante in the Blue Book and ensure that your children will be noble by birth. Then Mother speaks to you carefully. There is worry in her eyes. But Robert, there may be another path for our son. Stefan, your firstborn, was born a noble. He will surely earn the title for the entire Brante family. Your second son bears the favor of the twins. For him, the path of priest is a worthy calling, no less than a nobleman's sword. They have been arguing after your future for a while now. Still, she would never deny the will of a nobleman and her husband. You smile at them both, trying to placate them. Gloria laughs quietly behind their backs. Just don't become a snoot like Stefan and you'll do fine. Mother chides Gloria for that. You wink at your sister. Nathan has been downcast all evening. He barely touched his dinner. When everyone gets up from the table, he suddenly rushes over to embrace you. Please don't go. Can't you stay? I don't want to go. I don't know what I'm going to do without you. You tussle his hair in response. There's no way you can stay now. Now you say. But when you come home, you will come home. You'll tell him all your stories and bring him a special present from Eterna. This is it. All your lessons have been learned. All of your things have been packed for the road tomorrow. You will leave the family home tomorrow. Tonight is your last night at home before your departure. You walk through the rooms one last time. The sitting room where Mother used to read your fairy tales. The library where Gloria used to spend all her time. Father's study, which you entered only on special occasions. The backyard where you taught Nathan to build towers one summer. The whole place feels so familiar, so dear to you. It feels like home. You lived here for 16 years. Will you ever return? It's getting late. Everyone is already in their rooms, but you hesitate. Father, Mother, Gloria, Nathan, it will be a long time before you see them again. Who will you spend your last few hours at home with? I mean, like, it would be nice to spend time with them, but also, plus 10 willpower is pretty rad, dude. We're gonna spend with Nathan and get some willpower. Nathan is already in bed snoring. You approach your brother quietly and pat him on the head. He is startled but smiles with joy when he realizes it's you. Hi, hey, can we go outside? I need your help with something. You creep silently downstairs. The air outside is damp and drops of dew glisten in the night. Nathan drags you towards the bushes. A spotted kitten looks at you from the bushes with sad eyes. You see a bowl of water and some scraps of food next to it. Look, he ran into our yard today. Sees he has got a broken paw. We need to save the poor kitten. You pat Nathan on the head. Together you sneak the poor animal into the house and take him to the storage closet. Then you close the closet door and begin the treatment. If anyone is clumsy in your family, it is Nathan, yet his hands are unusually accurate and calm as he binds the kitten's paw. You start chatting as you treat the kitten. As you think out loud about living in the capital and working towards your goal, Nathan strokes the poor animal's wet fur. He sighs. It's tough for me, thinking about being a grown-up. I'm not much of anything even now. I wish I could be like you. You sure know where you're going and who you're going to be. Dude, I have no clue. I'm just like here, along for the ride, man. I've just been clicking buttons. You shrug. No, I mean it. I can't be like that. They say I'm going to study too and go to Eterna and become a priest or go to the college. But there's no way I can make it there. Does that mean there's nothing else out there for me? You'll be leaving soon and I'll be all alone here. You'll write to me, I know you will, and you'll come back one day, but I'm scared I might lose my way when you're not around. You'll come back and it'll be different. You'll be different, I'll be different too. You swear to Nathan that even if everything changes, you will always be his brother. You will always be there to offer him advice and support, and you have no doubt that he will find his way in life. It just takes time to find yourself, sometimes more than you might expect. The sun is about to rise. You should rest before the long trip. You have not tried at all. You are not tired at all. Nevertheless, it's time for bed. Before you leave, Nathan hugs you again. Please promise you'll come back. You swear to him that you will. You get into bed and fade away into a gentle, happy sleep. They will be waiting for you back here, no matter what. Yeah, we got some willpower, baby. Departure from home. You leave the family home for a long time. Your future awaits in Eterna, the capital of the empire. Yeah, the last night was your final night at home. The carriage is now waiting at the gate, ready to take you to the capital. The clip-clopping of the idle hoofs against the cobblestone count the seconds before your departure. You take one more look at your parents' house and recall your childhood spent there, in the nearby yard at your school, and on the winding streets of Enzanti. You clashed with the greater world around you and survived. You felt the tingle of emotion for the first time. You were taught by the school and the taste. You were taught by the school and the streets. You explored the city and your birth and learned something of its past. You witnessed firsthand events that will be remembered by history for all time. All of this is yours now, forever. You saw death, lesser death followed by rebirth, and the true death that takes and never gives back. You saw death lying in wait to strike the unaware like a beast stalking its prey. You saw grandfather's angry grimace lit by the flickering fire of the lamp, the Archduke's cavalry trampling those who stood in their way, and your older brother's bloodied sword slicing through the air. Death has followed you from a very young age. And yet you live on. You have a friend who has been by your side all these years. Thomas taught you many things. How to take a hit, how to keep your word, how to remain true to your own self. And now Thomas is walking to the same carriage as you are with a heavy bag slung over his shoulder. Your friend will remain your companion for all the time being. Ahead of you is a long trip towards the capital of adulthood. For the first time, you will be away from your family and home. What awaits you in the future? Baby, we survived adolescence. And yes, we did die again. Yeah. So nobility ended at 4, ingenuity ended at 6, spirituality ended at 3. Not the best. Willpower 15, 2 deaths. Continue on. I mean, I'm not. We're stopping here because that was a long while.
Leaving my hometown behind, I set out for the capital of the empire. There, I would discover my role in society.
This guy kind of has like a skater dude voice, and I don't like it. Like, I kind of like it, but he has like kind of like skater dude. I guess we'll read this. The driver flickers the reins. The carriage slowly sways as it starts moving away from your home. You stick your head out of the window and wave goodbye to your family. Nathan is running after the carriage with Thomas's younger brother in tow, tear glistening in their eyes. It hurts to leave your home behind. Ahead lies Eterna, the imperial capital. You have often read about it and heard stories from Father and Stefan. It is a city that surpasses Anansati enormously in terms of size, age, wealth, and beauty. But what is it really like? What kind of life awaits you there? What will you learn there? And where will your actions take you? You pass the old walls of Anzati. Somewhere within them is the old fortress you and Thomas built together out of old wooden planks, now left to the care of your younger brothers. You two are adults now. Perhaps your fortress will crumble, now abandoned, or perhaps your brothers will continue what you started. Who knows? You look down at your hand, knuckles covered in scars from street antics, fingers stained with ink. Mother gave you a cross to wear away from home, and now you can feel its warmth against your chest. Your family counts on you, even though they all wish a different future for you. But they are behind you now, in Anzanti. From this point on, you will decide which road you will take. This is a journey you prepared for throughout your entire childhood. Ahead of you lies many years in the capital, years that will determine your fate and your place in society. Diplomacy, nobility, and these are your personal qualities in adulthood, which you will use for the rest of your life. They will sum up your qualities and gain in childhood and adolescence. For most skills checks, you will need a value between 10 and 16. Values 17 and 19 are required for rare and special difficulty choices. The maximum value 20 only gives you a chance for one extraordinary deed. Oh my goodness. Oh, I understand. It took perception and nobility and put them into 1. And I got 7. And then it's taking perception and ingenuity and putting it into 1 to get manipulation, and I get 9. Then I get perception and spirituality, and it goes into theology. Determination and nobility into valor. Determination and ingenuity. I am a schemer. It's 11. Eloquence 8. Okay. Alright. Holy shit. You saved the enigmatic singer known as the Golden Voice from an ultimately death. Collapse of the Loteless. You failed to protect the Loteless. The Empire utterly destroys the secret society. Holy shit. Rescue the Loteless and the secret society continues in its activities in the capital. You and Thomas form the unbreakable bond of friendship. We get married? What the fuck? You side with the new faith and supports the transformation of the church. Oh, that would be a cool path to follow too. You side with the old faith, victory, and the triumph. You prevail over every opponent in the Imperial College tournament. So I wonder if that witch lady comes into stuff in this secret society. We will see in the next episode. Thank you, everybody, for dropping by. It was a long one. We went about... How long did we go? 2 hours and 40 minutes. A lot longer than I had planned, but I wanted to finish my childhood and my adolescence. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time.